They said she wasn't good enough to even be in the same room as him. Her own aunt, her own blood, said those words to her face while her cousins laughed behind perfectly manicured hands. And if you've ever been told you're not worthy of something, not because of what you did, but because of who you are, then you know exactly how that feels. That hollow ache that sits in your chest and whispers that maybe they're right. Maybe you really aren't enough. But before we get into what happened when billionaire heir Marcus Ashford walked into that house and changed everything, hit that like button right now. Because what I'm about to tell you is so unexpected, so emotionally devastating, that you're going to want to remember where you heard it first. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because this story doesn't end here. Not even close. Her name was Lily Chin, 22 years old. Orphaned at 16 when her parents died in a car accident that also left her with a limp she'd carry for the rest of her life. No inheritance. No trust fund. Just debt and a distant aunt who took her in, not out of love, but obligation. Aunt Margaret made that very clear from day one. Lily lived in the converted storage room above the garage of Margaret's estate in Greenwich. Not the main house. Never the main house. That was reserved for Margaret's daughters, Vanessa and Claire, both beautiful, both cruel, both groomed since birth to marry into old money. Lily's job was simple. Cook. Clean. Stay invisible. She did the laundry at 5 in the morning before anyone woke up. Prepared breakfast that she'd never eat with them. Scrubbed floors while her cousins got ready for charity galas she'd never attend. And every single day, Margaret would remind her how lucky she was. "You'd be on the streets without me," Margaret would say, her voice sweet as poison. "So when I ask you to work a little harder, you smile and say thank you." Lily always said thank you. Because where else could she go? The limp made it hard to find work. She'd tried. Applied to dozens of places. But the moment they saw her struggle to stand for long periods, the moment they saw her wince when she moved too fast, the interviews would end. Polite smiles. "We'll call you." They never called. So she stayed. In that room above the garage. Swallowing her dignity one day at a time. Until Marcus Ashford. Margaret had been preparing for weeks. The Ashford family was hosting a charity event, but more importantly, Marcus, the only son, 28 years old, soon to inherit a tech empire worth $18 billion, was apparently ready to settle down. His mother had been making calls. Discreet inquiries. Looking for eligible young women from good families. Margaret saw an opportunity. She put Vanessa and Claire through brutal preparation. New wardrobes. Deportment coaching. Memorized conversation topics about art and philanthropy and all the things wealthy people pretend to care about. This was their shot. One of them would catch Marcus Ashford's attention. One of them would become the future Mrs. Ashford. Lily helped them prepare. She steamed Vanessa's gown at midnight when the first one didn't fit right. She held Claire's hair back when she made herself throw up because she'd eaten too much at lunch. She listened to them practice their laughs, the ones that sounded effortless and charming, nothing like the sharp cackles they used when mocking Lily. "You know what's funny?" Vanessa said the night before the event, watching Lily adjust her hem. "You and Marcus are the same age. Technically, you could go to this thing." Claire laughed. "Oh my God, can you imagine?" Lily limping across the ballroom in some thrift store dress. "That's enough," Margaret said sharply. But not because she was defending Lily. Lily won't be attending. She'll be here, making sure the house is perfect for when we return. We need her focused. Lily kept her eyes down. Kept pinning the hem. Said nothing. Because that's what survival looked like for her. Silence. Swallowing rage until it became part of her DNA. The night of the event, Lily watched from the garage window as her aunt and cousins left in a limousine. Designer gowns. Diamond jewelry borrowed from Margaret's collection. They looked like princesses heading to the ball. And Lily looked down at her reflection in the darkened window. Oversized sweater. Leggings with a hole in the knee. Hair pulled back because she couldn't afford a haircut. She wasn't Cinderella. There was no fairy godmother coming. She went back inside and did the dishes. But here's where the story turns. Where fate, or maybe just coincidence, decides to intervene. Because Marcus Ashford never made it to that charity event. His car broke down 6 blocks from Margaret's house. Driver's phone dead. Marcus's phone at 2% battery. And when he knocked on the nearest door looking to use a phone, the house was dark. Everyone gone. Everyone except Lily. She almost didn't answer. It was nearly 10 at night, and she'd learned to be careful. But something made her check the peephole. Maybe curiosity. Maybe loneliness. Maybe just the desperate hope that something, anything, would be different about this day. She saw him standing there. Expensive suit. Frustrated expression. Very clearly not someone who was used to things going wrong. She opened the door. "I'm so sorry to bother you," he said immediately. "My car died down the street, and I need to call my driver. Could I possibly use your phone?" She noticed three things at once. His eyes were kind. Genuinely kind. Not the performative kindness rich people used like accessories. He didn't look at her limp when she shifted her weight. Didn't let his gaze drop down and then quickly away like most people did. And he said please. Actually said please like he meant it. "The family's not home," Lily said quietly. "But you can use the house phone in the kitchen." She led him inside, trying not to be self-conscious about the way she walked. The way her right leg dragged just slightly. The way she had to grip the doorframe when they went up the 3 steps into the house. He didn't comment. Didn't offer help that would have felt like pity. Just followed. The kitchen was the only room Lily kept truly clean, her domain, the one place Margaret didn't criticize because the meals that came out of it were too good. Marcus made his call while Lily pretended to organize the spice rack, trying not to eavesdrop, but hearing everything anyway. His driver would be 45 minutes. Marcus hung up. Turned to her. "I don't suppose you'd let me wait here? I promise I'm not a serial killer." She should have said no. Should have told him to wait in his car. That's what Margaret would have demanded. But Lily was so tired of doing what Margaret demanded. "Do you want tea?" she asked instead. And Marcus smiled. Actually smiled like she'd offered him something valuable. "I would love tea." They sat at the kitchen table, the small one tucked in the corner where Lily ate her meals alone. She made chamomile because it was late and that's what her mother used to make. Her hands shook slightly as she poured. She wasn't used to this. Conversation. Company. Someone looking at her like she was a person and not a burden. "Do you live here?" Marcus asked. "Sort of. It's my aunt's house." "Sort of." Lily hesitated. Then decided she had nothing to lose. "I live in the room above the garage. I work for her. Cooking, cleaning, that kind of thing." She waited for his expression to change. For that subtle shift people did when they realized you were the help. When you went from human to furniture in their minds. It didn't change. "That must be hard," he said simply. 2 words. That must be hard. Nobody had said that to her in 6 years. Nobody had acknowledged that her life was difficult. That she was drowning. That every day was an exercise in endurance. Her throat tightened. "It's fine," she managed. "Is it?" And the way he asked, gentle, genuinely curious, made something crack open inside her chest. She told him everything. Not because she meant to. Not because she planned it. But because he sat there and listened like her words mattered. Like her story was worth hearing. She told him about her parents. The accident. The limp. Margaret's coldness. Her cousin's cruelty. The storage room. The loneliness. The desperate, clawing feeling of being trapped in a life she never chose. Marcus didn't interrupt. Didn't offer solutions or platitudes or toxic positivity. He just listened. When she finally stopped talking, embarrassed by how much she'd revealed, he was quiet for a long moment. "I'm supposed to be at a charity event right now," he said finally. "Meeting eligible women from good families. That's what my mother calls it. Like we're livestock being bred for favorable traits." Lily almost laughed. "Almost. My cousins are at that event," she said. "Hunting you, probably." "Hunting me. You're Marcus Ashford." The Marcus Ashford. "My aunt's been preparing them for weeks. New dresses. New personalities. They're very determined." Something flickered across his face. Amusement mixed with resignation. "And what do you think of that?" "The hunting." Lily met his eyes. Really looked at him for the first time. "I think people shouldn't be reduced to their bank accounts. But I also think that's easy for me to say when I don't have one." He laughed. Actually laughed, not at her, but with genuine appreciation. "You're honest," he said. "That's rare." "I have nothing to lose by being honest." "They do." "They?" "People with something to protect. Reputations. Inheritances. The way people see them." She paused. "You included." Marcus leaned back in his chair, studied her with an intensity that should have made her uncomfortable, but somehow didn't. "What's your name?" "Lily." "Lily, I'm going to ask you something, and I want you to know you can absolutely say no." Her heart rate picked up. "Okay, come with me to the event. Right now. As my guest?" She stared at him. "What?" "I'm serious. We'll show up late, make an appearance, and you'll get to see your cousins' faces when they realize the guy they've been hunting walked in with you." "That's insane." "Maybe. My aunt would kill me." "Your aunt sounds awful." "I can't. Look at me. I'm not dressed for that." "I'm not," she gestured vaguely at herself. At the woman she'd become. Small. Diminished. Unworthy. Marcus reached across the table. Didn't touch her. Just laid his hand palm up between them. An offering, not a demand. "Lily, I've spent 3 hours at dozens of events like this. Everyone's performing. Everyone's pretending. Everyone wants something from me that has nothing to do with who I actually am." He paused. "You gave me tea and told me the truth. That's worth more than any of them have offered in years. But I'm nobody." "Says who?" "Says everyone. Not me." And the simple certainty in his voice did something to her. Reached into that hollow space in her chest and filled it with something she'd almost forgotten existed. "Hope." "I don't have anything to wear," she whispered. Marcus pulled out his phone. Made a call. Lily sat there, heart pounding, as he arranged for his driver to stop at 3 different places before picking them up. A boutique his sister used. A salon. A shoe store. "You don't have to do this," Lily kept saying. "I know," Marcus replied. "I want to." 2 hours later, Lily stood in front of a full-length mirror and didn't recognize herself. The dress was midnight blue. Simple but elegant. It moved when she moved, didn't cling to the parts of her body she'd learned to hide. The shoes had a low heel. Marcus had specifically asked for that, told the stylist that comfort mattered more than height. Her hair was down, softly curled, framing a face she'd stopped looking at years ago. She was beautiful. Not like Vanessa or Claire. Not polished and sharp and calculated. But beautiful in a way that felt true. "Ready?" Marcus asked, offering his arm. Lily took it. They arrived at the event at 11:30. The ballroom was packed with people who all looked the same. Expensive clothes. Expensive smiles. The kind of people who measured worth in zeros and connections. Margaret saw them first. Lily watched her aunt's face cycle through confusion, recognition, and then pure rage in the span of 3 seconds. She started moving through the crowd, Vanessa and Claire trailing behind her like sharks following blood in the water. "Lily," Margaret hissed when she reached them. "What are you doing here?" "She's with me," Marcus said calmly. "My guest?" "Your guest." Claire's voice was shrill. "Marcus, we've been waiting to meet you all night." "We were told." "I'm sorry," Marcus interrupted smoothly. "My car broke down. Lily was kind enough to help me. We got to talking, and I realized I'd much rather spend the evening with her than making small talk with strangers." The silence that followed was exquisite. Vanessa looked like she'd been slapped. Claire's mouth hung open. And Margaret's face had gone purple with barely contained fury. "This is inappropriate," Margaret said tightly. "Lily needs to leave. Now." "Actually," Marcus replied, his voice still pleasant but with an edge that made even Margaret hesitate. "Lily's staying. And if anyone has a problem with that, I'm happy to leave with her. I'm sure the press would love to hear about how a prominent family treats their own niece." The threat hung in the air. Margaret's smile was venomous. "Of course. How silly of me." "Lily, darling, I didn't realize you knew Mr. Ashford." "I didn't," Lily said quietly. "Until tonight. What happened next will shock you." The way Marcus kept Lily by his side the entire night. The way he introduced her to his mother, not as the help, not as some charity case, but as someone who mattered. The way he danced with her despite her limp, moving slowly, letting her set the pace, never once making her feel like she was holding him back. But that's not even the shocking part. Want to know what happened when the night ended? When Marcus drove Lily back to that house and made her an offer that would change everything. When Margaret found out exactly how much her cruelty had cost her. Drop a comment right now telling me you want part 2. And here's the thing, if this video doesn't get enough engagement, I might not finish the story. So hit that like button, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe because you're not going to believe where this goes next. The choice Marcus gave Lily wasn't about money. It wasn't about revenge. It was about something far more dangerous. And when she said yes, everything her aunt had ever built started to crumble. Part 2 is coming. But only if you tell me you're ready for it.